Now, Mantorp Park is celebrating 30 years of drag racing. So let's have a quick history lesson from Steve.
It was 30 years ago that drag racing started here in Sweden. Back then it was hot rods running in 15 seconds that really got the crowd on the feet and cheering, not the top fuel 5-second monsters that we see today. I spoke to Ragnar Sigring, the managing director of Mantorp Park, to tell us how racing started here.
This has been my life for 25 years now, and I am an old racer myself. I was racing saloon cars in the 60s, and I was Scandinavian champion 1972. So that was the last year for me racing, and since then a promoter. There have been enormous changes. I remember the first one, 74 here. We have no grandstands on the sides. People were standing out on the grass, and when it rained it was like we had to dig ourselves out. And so there have been a lot of improvements on the track. I think Mantorp Park is an institution for Swedish and Scandinavian drag racing. This is the place you must be.
But it was a British driver that won the hearts of the crowds in Sweden. His name was Dennis Priddle. He first raced here in 1968, he first raced in Mantorp in 1974, and he returned to the track this year to see how things have changed.
The main thing was to put on a show. I was considered back in the 70s, drag racing was 50% racing and 50% circus. And it also wasn't anywhere near as expensive. Seeing these guys, they put in a new clutch every round. You know, I would put in a new clutch for a season. I used to wear tyres through until they were virtually through to the canvas. If you want to be successful now, you're doing probably 2 runs, 3 runs maximum on a pair of tyres. I have fond memories of Sweden, Mantorp Park especially, because we race here more than any of the other tracks. The Swedish spectators were always superb, always gave me a very, very warm welcome. And in fact, I'm really staggered as to how many recognise me now that I'm twice the size and weight, and I'm starting to look like quite an old man.
Probably the biggest change you'll see here in Sweden, much like in Europe, is the actual quality and the type of facility that this is developed into. 25 years ago, when the Skåne Festival was just the Mantorp Park Festival, it was very basic, as it was in England and America. And to look here today, 25 years later, for this festival, it's just incredible to see the changes. The spectators, the type of spectator, the facilities, the knowledge and interest in the sport of drag racing. And of course, that's got to happen if the sport's to develop anyway.
So congratulations to Mantorp Park for its 30-year anniversary. But now let's get on with the racing and join our race commentator, Graham Beckwith.
Well, let's take a look at the championship leaderboard for Top Alcohol Funny Car. Looking like this: Leif Andreasen, the man on top of the pile from Michael Kagerad, Lex June, Leif Helander. Let's get into the racing. The man leading the championship, this man, Leif Andreasen, with the Pontiac Firebird. He's our #1 qualifier, and racing in round 1, a new man to me, Ove Gottnersen, and he qualified at #6. I'm joined by Russ here in the commentary position, and we were just weighing up who's going to be coming out victorious at the end of this round.
Well, most people's money would be on this man, Leif Andreasen, because he's won already, Graham, at the first round at Santopod in England and the second round at Alastaro in Finland.
Well, how right you are. He's becoming a seasoned campaigner, and I would imagine that Gottnersen can really feel the heat down there. This is going to be very tense on the start line indeed. For me, the new man hasn't a hope. Well, anything can happen in drag racing. Into stage. First goes Andreasen. Gottnersen follows him in, and again he's the first man into stage. Andreasen stays on the grid. It's Andreasen by 3 car lengths away, holds on to that advantage and takes what is basically an easy win.
We have much work to do tonight. We have new pistons and rods and everything we put in tonight, but now it looks working.
Well, let's go to our second race of this first round, and it's number 5 qualifier Dan Larson with the Firebird, and that's a tough car. And we know all about the man in the other lane. That, of course, is Alex June.
And of course it's Alex that was the man that was trying to burn Leif Andreasen down at Santopon in England. But these funny cars, of course, are probably one of the most difficult forms of dragster to drive. The drivers are sitting on a very short wheelbase behind that massive engine, so the visibility is very, very poor.
And don't forget an enormous amount of power produced by those over 8-litre engines with the massive superchargers on.
That spray that you can see there, Graham, as you know, is de-icer, there to stop those butterflies freezing up, because this alcohol fuel runs at very, very low temperatures.
And what the drivers don't want to happen is they mash the throttle and nothing happens. Here we go. There'll be no messing around this time for Lex June. As I thought, he's the first man in pre-stage, followed by Larson. Lex June into full stage. Larson follows him on the grid. It looks to be June away first, but look at that. Dan Larson looks to cut an amazing line at the finish line, and it's Dan Larson takes the win.
And Larson there getting a great jump on the starts at 0.49, taking a lead at mid-track.
Well, the whole shot enough to hold off Lex June all the way down the quarter mile.
How was that run?
Well, it looked better than the last ones, but I think there's a little more to go.
Must be very pleased.
Well, it's better winning than losing.
Very close though.
Top alcohol racing is close racing, by definition.
Well, by definition, let's get into more excitement. This is race number 3. Michael Kagerad, Leif Helander.
And of course, Michael Kagerad was not happy yesterday during qualifying, because when the rain came down, he was actually made to run a full pass, and he felt that he'd been unfairly penalised because the track was damp.
Well, nobody will know the situation better than Michael Kagerad. I think he's driven that car down the racetrack in all kinds of conditions. Whatever, ended up being the number 3 qualifier. Racing now, number 4 qualifier, Leif Helander, the Stark Ottoman.
Good shot inside the funny car there, Graham. Very, very claustrophobic inside, very, very hot and very, very tense.
Well, very noisy as well. This is where the tension comes in. Both cars in pre-stage. It is Michael Kagerad who stages first on the green. It looked to be Kagerad away from the start line first, but look at that, the Stark Ottoman goes through, takes it on the line. Whoa, great driving job by Leif Helander.
Looks like Kagerad there, Graham's got it at mid-track. Look at that, he's got a massive lead at mid-track. But then suddenly the Star Cutter car seems to erode that lead to take the win there at the finish line.
Well, after round 1, let's take a look at the way the semi-finals pan out. That's going to be Leif Andreasen on a bye run, Leif Helander racing Dan Larson. Well, let's take a look at yesterday's top alcohol dragster qualifying action. You can see Peter Schofer had his hands full with the car covering both lanes. Eskelinen through with a 6.22. Here are the 2 men leading the championship. Peter Beck going through with a 6.43, but a 6.1 for Roivers. Well, Beck was out for the second session, but had to click it off with mechanical problems. And in the second session, it was Roivers out here with this storming sub-6 second run to take the number 1 spot. Peter Schofer in at number 4. And in the very last session, Peter Beck finally got the numbers he wanted, qualified at number 2, leaving Eskelinen in at 3.
They were down in the pits by Leif Helander's car, and he's actually putting a parachute at the back of the car and packing it away. This is the drogue, the thing which is on a spring. So when he pulls the chute, it pops out and drags the parachute with it. It's all very well this car hitting 250 miles an hour in 6 seconds, but he knows it's got to stop. And that's why it's usually the driver's responsibility to pack this thing away. Have a quick look round here, look. Here it goes, tying it up, pull it tight, the clip will come across, and that's what connects it to the lever inside the car. There, it's tied on. Also, look at this. This is fire retardant material. In case the car catches fire, these are the straps which actually hold on to the chute and tie it to the car. If it's on fire, they'll still hold tight and still stop the car with a parachute. It's really important here at Mantorp Park, because at the end of the track, there's a corner. And he knows he wants to stop down there or he'll be eating dirt. Good luck.
Well, a bye run for this man, the number 1 qualifier, Leif Andreasen. He goes into stage. Will he go for lane choice or try and save parts? Well, the latter. He cruises through and takes the automatic win with an 8.02. This then our second semi-final. Dan Larsen and Leif Helander.
Interesting there though, Graham, that Leif Andreasen clicked off at half track there just to take an easy win on the bye, because that means that he probably won't have lane choice in the final, and that will put him, I think, in the left-hand lane, because the right-hand lane seems to be running much quicker today.
And let me very quickly explain the importance of running a quick time in the semi-finals. The quickest time run in the semi-finals will get lane choice in the final. And with the lanes being apparently unequal here today, that's going to be very important. We've matched up the number 4 and 5 qualifier now in this semi-final. Dan Larsen, on paper, not the favourite. Leif Helander, he's an old campaigner, knows every trick in the book when it comes to top alcohol funny car racing. Well, he'll want Dan Larsen to start staging first, and Larsen obliges by pre-stage. Helander follows him in, both cars in full stage. On the grid, it looked to be Helander with a slight advantage, but the Firebird quickly clicks off. Leif Helander takes the win.
How was the run?
Yeah, we're rather quite pleased. We went 18 the round before, and now we have put a little more clutch in it, and everything seems to be okay, so we're going for the final.
Well, as the smoke and the alcohol clears out of the air, let's take a look at the way the cars line up for the final. Leif Helander will be racing Leif Andreasen. Well, let's go to round 1 of racing in the top alcohol Dragster Championship. The leaderboard looks like this. It couldn't be closer. Peter Beck and Jarmo Roivers tied for first place. Peter Schofer from Britain's Rob Turner in 3rd and 4th. This our first race. Jarmo Roivers taking on Peter Schofer of Germany.
Now, I would say that Jarmo Roivers starts as favourite in this particular race, and Peter Schofer from Germany here getting out of shape, as we saw earlier during qualifying yesterday. If I had to put my money on somebody, Graham, I have to say it would be in the right lane.
I have to say, Russ, you seem to take the safe bet all the time. Peter Schofer, he's an experienced campaigner. Anything can happen here. It only needs for Roivers to be a little too eager away from the start line, and he will hand that automatic win to Schofer. I think that is what Schofer's going to have to depend on.
Well, when you talk to Jarmo, he's incredibly confident in the pits. He's very, very aggressive, and well, I suppose it's anything to play for, but I still favour Jarmo Roivers.
Well, Roivers was the first man into stage, followed by Peter Schofer. Is Schofer going to push it on the green light? Well, as the tree runs, the answer is no. It's Roivers with the advantage. He holds it all the way to the finish line.
It was okay. It was kind of a marginal. It almost lost the traction, but it was just there. We were really pleased with that.
It's close?
Yeah, it was almost smoked the tires, but it barely, hold.
Well, you can see that car right on the edge of traction. Here we go. This then our second semi-final. This man, Kari Eskelinen, the number 3 qualifier, taking on the reigning top alcohol Dragster champion from Switzerland, Peter Beck.
Well, you have to say that although Kari Eskelinen has put in a lot of good times in his racing career, Peter Beck must start as favourite in this race. He's very professional, he's very cool when you talk to him in the pits. That car is beautifully prepared, so I guess we're looking at a right lane win here, Graham.
I'll go along with that, Russ. I don't think anyone in the right mind in top alcohol Dragster will pick Peter Beck to be lining up in the lane opposite them. Let's not forget, he's the number 2 qualifier here this weekend, and Eskelinen the number 3 man, so really not a great deal to choose between them. The crew chiefs have done their work. Now down to the drivers into pre-stage, both cars. It is Peter Beck moves into stage first. Eskelinen follows him. At the start line, it's Beck with an advantage. He's a car ahead. The half track takes the win.
Well, when you look at that in slow motion, against the form book, Eskelinen gets away from the lights quicker.
Well, you can see the whole shot, but then the power of the Dragster from Switzerland comes in. Peter Beck powers away for the win. Eskelinen out of the loud pedal.
How's the run? Perfect. Very nice. Very good time for here. 585 is good, real good.
Well, going into the final, let's take a look at how the elimination is panning out. Peter Beck is going to be racing Jarmo Roivus. The top two meet in the final.
There's a gap in the events here just for 1 minute. I want you to look at this track. Come down here and have a look at this. It looks like it's falling apart, but it's not. These holes are actually in rubber, which is laid on top of the tarmac. It's rubber, and on top of that is something called track bites, and it's like glue. It's what makes it so sticky. So if I put my, look, I can't move my foot. Look at this, look. I can't, literally, it's sticky. And that's what gets the car so much grip off the line. That means they can put all that power onto the track, and they speed off up the hill, and that's why this track isn't falling apart. It's just all the rubber on top of it. And there's some more cars coming up, so I better get out of the way.
Are you ready for this? This then our final of Top Alcohol Funny Car, the battle of two Leifs, Andreasen and Helander.
We're working hard with the fuel system and everything. We have lots of damage in the first event in England, and we are working hard to fix everything and repair everything, and it seems that we are on the move, yeah.
Well, a very confident Leif Helander with the Saab Funny Car. Let's go over to the other camp and have a word with Leif Andreasen.
Yeah, we think we have the performance. The track is pretty good, so yeah, we still relaxed as usual.
Yeah, you've been. This is we talk to you every final. Have you made every final in every round so far?
That's right, and #1 qualifier at all the races. We've been the only guys running in the fives. Hopefully we're going to run in the fives this time also.
Now I'm going to let you into a little secret. I've just spoken to Leif Helander, who says he's going to kick your ass. How do you feel about that?
I'm not scared.
Do you think you'll beat him?
Yeah, I think so. We have the power. I got better reaction time, so we should do it. But you never know. It's drag racing, and you never know what's going to happen.
Well, you and I know how true that is, Russ. Anything can happen in this race.
Well, Leif Andreasen, as we suggested, ended up in the left-hand lane, and although his car is beautifully prepared and extremely powerful, and Leif has got 2 wins under his belt, I must admit, if I was him, I'd be a bit nervous over there.
Well, could be, Russ. He'll have to do a pedalling job down there to keep the power down on the track. We've seen so many wins in this right-hand lane. Here we go into pre-stage. Andreasen. Helander follows him in. First man into stage. Well, here's Andreasen. Helander follows him. On the grid, it's Helander away. One of the best launches of his career. At half-track, he holds onto it for the win.
Fantastic race there. Certainly unexpected that Helander got away from the lights there first.
Well, indeed he did. And then the power of the Saab took Helander to a great win. And I'm sure Andreasen won't be happy about the outcome of that one.
Fantastic race!
Yeah. Our big guy Leif is worth this. It has been many struggles past 2 years, so we're all pleased, very pleased. Yes.
And he cut a good light.
Yeah, he cut a good light. We have shouted on him, and it helps. We're very pleased with this.
Well, chalk up 1 for the Vikings in that final. Let's take a look at the championship leaderboard. Leif Andreasen in #1 spot from Michael Kagerad. Leif Helander now at 3 from Lex June at 4. Well, let's move on to our final of Top Alcohol Dragster. Peter Beck. He's going to be taking on the might of Jarmo Roivus.
I think it's a very close race today. Peter Beck drive very, very fast, but I think we have a medicine that, and I want to win today.
Well, you can't beat wanting to win. Let's take a quick word with Peter Beck for his views on this final.
I think we can drive on the 5.9, and I think I can win.
Well, try and keep those numbers in mind that Peter Beck was talking about. The tension is high. Don't forget, these two men are joint leaders of the championship, Russ.
And with only 2 rounds of the championship left to go, that's Hockenheim in England. Both of these drivers are going to want to get an edge today. It's going to be incredibly important for one of them to psychologically start pushing the other one back into two.
Well, the nerves are jangling now. Both cars in pre-stage. It is Rivers moves in stage, followed by Beck at the green. It looks to be Beck away first. At half track, he has a car's length advantage and takes the win.
What a fantastic race there, and you can see that Rivers cuts an incredible light.
Well, Peter Beck needed every second of that prediction. He said he would win with a 5.9 or a 5.8. A 5.84 takes the win.
Brilliant run. Yeah. All that work, so the work on the car was fine. Yeah, it was fine. We were just checking everything and doing some little clutch, and it went.
Well, went to the tune of a 5.85 winner. Let's take a look at the leaderboard in the championship. Peter Beck now on top of the pile from Jarmo Rivers, Peter Schofer and Kari Eskelinen in fourth place. While we leave our winners, the funny car men, Helander and Andreasen, enjoying a drop of champagne. Let's take a look at our top alcohol Dragster winners. Of course, Peter Beck and Jarmo Rivers with the champagne too. We spoke first to Leif Helander.
Did you expect to win when you came here today?
We're thinking about it a little, but actually I can say no, because we just want to have the car running. We had problem with that before, and but we see the car respond what we're doing and everything. So we start when at least after the first run when we kick out Michael Kagred. We're thinking about to win, yeah.
I'm very happy with this final run. It's my best run this weekend with 5.84. We find the right setup for Mantorp Park. That's good. Hockenheim is my home race with many Swiss spectators, and it's very important for me.
Now this drag strip forms part of an existing racetrack, which can sometimes present a unique and sometimes dangerous challenge to our drivers.
I'm standing on the finish line here at Mantorp Park. Behind me is the start line. It's downhill, so when they come off the line, the cars are climbing up the hill to pass this point at about 250, 280 miles an hour. As they go over the brow, they've got to pull their parachutes, because over that brow, up this way, look, you can see the tops of the trees. As they go over the top, there's a very, very short runoff. So they haven't got long to actually slow down. And what's worse for those drivers, at the end of that runoff, there is a hairpin bend. They've got to stop their cars, otherwise they'll go into the dirt.
And who'd have thought it? Reigning Pro Stock champion Tommy Liner in the dirt.
Okay, I don't know, I pulled the parachute off that. It didn't come on, and so it didn't stop quickly enough. So I just tried to brake hard, but I decided to go straight because it's dangerous to try to turn with so much speed on. So it's okay, no problem.
Now let's start with Pro Stock, which has been led by Nicholas Anderson. Now, do you remember this? The confrontation between him and Tommy Liner on the start line at Alastaro in Finland.
Tommy Liner and Nicholas Anderson, neither driver wanted to stage first. Both of them called out of the car by the chief starter, and he explained the law to them. Well, let's get to the action. This is the first race in round one of Pro Stock action. Jakob Ferrer and Lina Nystrom, the numbers 4 and 5 qualifiers. Well, I'm joined here in the commentary position by Russ. This is a change for you, my man, to have a view.
It certainly is, Graham, and it's even more interesting because I remember this girl, Lina Nystrom, having that horrendous crash at Santopod, which wrote off her 1998 car. This is obviously last year's car for Lina.
Well, you're dead right. The Firebird of Jakob Ferrer. Always a bit of a dark horse for me, Jakob. Lina waving very confident. She qualified at number 5, Jakob at 4. Here we go, moving up to the line. Ferrer is first in stage. Nystrom makes him wait. And gets the advantage away from the start line. The young lady out ahead in this race. Can Ferrer catch up? No is the answer. Nystrom take, well, look at this. Oh, Ferrer goes over in the car.
It looks like he's taken out Lena again, which is horrendous.
Well, that would be the end of her racing year. Surely we'll have to wait on news of what's happened at the top end. Well, seems like there's no wreckage from the Nystrom car there. So hopefully all well with her. She'll be into the next round. This, our next race. Kjetil Hauger and the reigning Pro Stock champion, Tommy Liner.
Who seems to have dyed his hair like Jacques Villeneuve. Well, it's not purple, it's blonde, so he's 1 year behind, I think.
Well, they say blondes have more fun, Russ. Maybe that's the way he's looking at it. He's got a hard man to get round in Kjetil Hauger, who's the number 7 qualifier here this weekend.
And of course, Tommy is the king of the psychology on the start line. Graham, he's the one man I probably wouldn't want to be up against at the quarter-final stage.
Well, having said that, he won't want a repeat of the action with Nicholas Anderson from Alastaro. Here we go. The tension mounts. It is Hauger into pre-stage, followed by Tommy Liner. Who's going to stage first? Or are we going to have fun and games? No, Hauger into stage. Tommy Liner into stage. Well, it looked to be Hauger with the advantage, then everything going pear-shaped for him away from the line. Tommy Liner takes the win.
We are satisfied. We won. That's all.
Well, Russ, this is really warming up now. Here's the man who was the winner at Santa Pod, Nicholas Anderson, and he's got a hard match here, Jari Connolly.
Well, Graham, certainly on past form, you'd expect Nicholas Anderson to win this race. But some quick news. Fortunately, Lena Nystrom was not hit in that accident, and Jakob Ferrer has been taken off to hospital. But he has got a message through to us to say that he expects to make it to Hockenheim.
Well, that's good news. At least we'll be seeing Lena out in the next round of elimination. Well, here we go. This our third race of Pro Stock eliminations. Going to be a tough one, this. Nicholas Anderson, the young man, Jari Connolly. Well, he's an old stager when it comes to the Pro Stock wars. Who's going to be first in stage? Identical in pre-stage. And it's Jari Connolly into stage, followed by Anderson. Here we go, the race is on. Well, looks to be Jari Connolly away first by a mile. Leaves Anderson trailing. Can the Firebird make it up? No! Well, Jari Connolly, he takes the win.
How was the run?
I have no idea how the run was, but I know we won. We didn't go that fast though, but now we have something to go on.
Well, that was certainly one of the big upsets there, Graham, with Nicholas out. That's certainly going to close his championship point leads down, whatever happens today.
Well, 1 or 2 long faces on the start line there. That was a big upset, as you said. Okay, Paul Tammy Brander, and he's racing the number 1 qualifier here this weekend, Mike Malmgren. Well, Michael's had a terrible year so far. He's not had the consistency leaving the start line he would like, and I don't think the car's been performing as well as he needs either. Hopefully this weekend's going to be a turning point. Krista, the crew chief, the man on the start line. All over to the drivers now. Malmgren rolling forward, and he in fact is first into stage, followed by Paul Brander, first to be in full stage. Well, that's Malmgren again. Brander follows him in on the green. Whoa, nothing to choose. Down the racetrack, Mike Malmgren has the advantage. Holds on to it at the finish line.
How was the run?
Very good, very good. He tried to play us a game on the starting line when Michael was right there, so it was a perfect run. The car left the line okay, so we figured out the gremlin we had all year last night, so now we're in the game again.
Let's take a look at the table, the way it looks now into the semi-finals. Malmgren and Nystrom, Liner and Connolly.
Now Top Fuel and Barry Sheevels and Jens Nebo are dicing it for the lead of the championship. But last night during qualifying, Barry Sheevels had big problems.
The first qualifying session, and our man Barry Sheevels for Britain being pushed away from the start line, the Magneto having failed on the car, and to make matters worse for Barry, there goes Jens Nebo on a devastating 5.04 qualifier. Certainly a great run for him. In the next session, Barry qualified, broke the tyres loose at half track, qualified number 5, and then to make matters worse, the clouds started closing in.
Well, there's obviously a rain at the moment, and puts us in a bit of an awkward spot because we're number 5 qualifier, and Monica Oberg is back out there to do another qualifying run. But if it stays a rain out, then obviously we're going to run a 4-car field. It means we're number 5 and we'll be out of the competition, which is a major blow to us because obviously at the moment we're leading the competition.
Well, luckily the rain cleared. We had the spectacle of these fuel cars at night. Barry qualified at number 2. On to race day. Here we are. This is the first race. Pushing back our man Barry Sheevels, crew chief Rune Fjeld. And what news from the pits, Russ?
Well, I've been talking to Barry in the pits, Graham, and it's clear that his car has got a lot more power than this track can handle at the moment.
Well, he's up against it. Tommy Haffinen, who qualified in at number 5. Tommy has always been hard to get round.
That's very true, but I think Barry has always felt psychologically that he can beat Tommy, and at the end of the day, this is all about psychology on the line, so my money here is on Barry.
Well, go along with that, Russ. Here we go. Who's going to be first into pre-stage? Great Britain's Barry Sheevels in, followed by Tommy. Well, Sheevels stage first. Haffinen in at the start line. Nothing to choose between them. And look at Haffinen up in smart. Luckily, Barry holds on to it.
How's the run?
It's okay. Smoked the tires a bit, but that's okay. We won, that's what matters.
All right, they won. That's what matters. Barry through to the semi-finals. This man, Pelle Lindelöw, racing the lady, Anita Michaela. Well, first time out for Pelle this year, a new car for him for 98. And he managed to qualify in the number 4 spot, but just ahead of him, ex-top alcohol racer Anita Michaela. And Anita is racing in last year's Peter Lance car, and Peter is the crew chief.
Well, obviously Peter was the man that prepared Kenta Pearson's car last year, which broke the European record, so from a car preparation point of view, you might be looking in the left lane.
Well, no lack of experience either with Pelle Lindelöw, Gary Bergin, the crew chief. And what you could see there, Russ, that was raw fuel going past the ignition system. These cars don't use all the fuel until they're on the run. Lindelöw into pre-stage. Anita follows him in. Here we go, into stage. Lindelöw, followed by Anita Michaela on the green. Anita Michaela with a little wheelie, and she has the advantage and after takes the win. On to our next race. Once a year, Monica Oberg brings out the top fuel car and takes part at Mantorp. She's racing number 1 qualifier, Jens Nebo.
And as we saw earlier, he put in a 5.04 during qualifying, much quicker than anybody else. And when I saw him in the pits, he was also seeming much more confident than anybody else. So again, I'd be looking in that left lane.
Well, I'll go along with that one, but Monica has been around top fuel drag racing for quite a number of years. Well, as long as I can remember. But Jens is a very cool customer indeed. Well, Denmark plays Sweden, and you can see the heavy concentration on Jens's face. For a man usually so happy, this is the tensest time in any drag race. He goes into stage first, followed shortly after by Monica on the green. Well, Jens Nebo looked to be away first, but look at this, the lady goes by. Well, that's a major, major upset. Number 2 man in the championship is out. Well, this is a semi-finals. Barry Sheevels and Anita Michaela, Monica Oberg on a bye. The first of our semi-finals, this man, Michael Malmgren, things finally going right for him. And Lena Nystrom, and we saw Lena had a close escape in the first round.
True, but I'm impressed with Lena. Her reaction times off the lights have been excellent, and I have to say that she's going to be a very good contestant for Michael here, who last year was really very quick, but this year has been struggling somewhat.
How right you are, Russ. Well, Lena, a new talent on the scene of Pro Stock, particularly in the FIA Championship, and she has proven to be very quick away from the lights indeed.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she beat Michael on the lights here today, but at the end of the day, Michael may have the experience that may count.
Well, it's going to be horsepower that wins this race, I'm sure of it. Keep your eyes on the black car, though. It is going to be a real challenge. Here we go, Malmgren goes in, Nystrom follows, and into full stage. Well, Little bit of hesitation. Malmgren in first. Nystrom, it looks to be Nystrom away first. But on the tree, there looks to be a red line. Indeed, she would have taken the win. Malmgren, you can see a 0.5 reaction time. He's through to the next round.
Lena obviously trying just too hard there, just trying to cut a good light to make sure that she wins, but she goes out.
The man who's currently the Pro Stock champion must be the battle of the old heads, I think, in this round. Jari Konala, Tommy Liner.
Again, Tommy Liner is the man. I think he's the man with the iron will, but Jari Konala has always proved to be a strong contestant, and of course he's lying second in the championship at the moment.
Well, you can't take anything away from Tommy Liner. That's after one superb performance in Finland. And as Russ has said, lying second in the championship, but this is a hard one. Jari Konala goes into pre-stage, followed by Tommy Liner. And it is Liner first in stage and first away from the tree. Look at this, nothing to choose at half track on the finish line. It looks to be Konala, but look at that, slightly quicker Tommy Liner away from the start line. And you can see in slow motion, nothing to choose between the cars.
What a race, incredibly close. This is Pro Stock racing at its best, and it's Liner who takes it at the line there, Graham. Incredible.
Well, impossible to judge that one by eye. Let's take a look, the final. Michael Malmgren, his first final of 98, and Tommy Liner. With 6 cars qualifying for Top Fuel, Monica Oberg went through on a bye run. This is our semi-final that is a race. Great Britain's Barry Sheehan. With 6 cars qualifying for Top Fuel, Monica Oberg went through on a bye run. This is our semi-final that is a race. Great Britain's Barry Sheevels, and of course Finland's Anita Michaela.
Well, again, talking to Barry and Peter in the pits, I think that everyone's having the same problem this weekend, which is they're lighting their tyres up on this track.
Well, I think the battle of the crew chiefs is who dare make the most power. Obviously, the cars have got to get down there quickly, but you've seen everybody lighting the tyres. So Rune Fjeld and Peter Lance will have backed away from the power on these cars.
Which is, of course, very unusual to have to tweak a car down to make sure that it sticks to the track.
Well, that's the way it's got to be. Got to get down the racetrack to win the race. Barry Sheevels first into stage, followed by Anita. Barry's in stage on the green. Well, it looked to be Barry away first. Lights the tyres up, carries on through, takes the win. Anita Michaela smoked the tyres too. Look at this in slow motion. Anita away first.
But look at the way the tyre shaker's throwing the bodywork away of Barry Sheevels' car, but he takes the win.
Left's good. Smoke the tyres again. We have too small a wing, that's our problem. We need a bigger wing. Smoke the tyres all the time on the top one.
Well, what a struggle it's been all weekend for Britain's Barry Sheevels, but now he finds himself in the final to race Sweden's Monica Oberg.
Well, I'm down in Barry Sheevels' pits, and I'll never say there's panic here, but just look at this. In the semi-finals, the car literally shook itself to bits. There's massive tyre shake, and there's a big, big problem here, because the bodywork is broken, there's no spares, and Barry is off right now trying to repair this stuff. Back here you can see Runa working on the car. There are big problems with the machine at the moment, because the setup hasn't been perfect this weekend at all. The engine is completely apart. This is normal practice, but boy, this is busy. Mark, you got time to talk? We'll have to come back to them later and see if they get into the final.
Here we go, Russ. This is the final of Pro Stock. Michael Malmgren, his first final of 98.
We found some speed. I mean, we picked up everything on the last round. We were counted out, I mean, I tell you, but the last round when Crystal found the problem, the car was flying, and we would go faster. I think in the final, the car probably go 12 or 13 if the track can hold it.
Let's have a quick word with his opponent, Tommy Liner.
Well, it's going to be tough. We both have around 7:12 this meet, and it's going to be in the reaction time, I think. And I got a very good reaction time last round, so I'm believing myself. I will kick his ass at the starting line, so we're going to win it.
Well, obviously a very confident young man. Michael Malmgren, he's really in the groove, though, this weekend.
Well, I was going to say, it's a toss-up here. Great final in prospect. Tommy Liner, I would say on paper again, is going to be the man to win this race. But Michael Malmgren, as you say, seems to have put in some really good times this weekend.
Well, indeed. Here we go. Who's going to be the man with most nerve? Are there going to be fun and games on the start line? Both cars in pre-stage. Michael Malmgren it is, moves deeply into stage. Tommy Liner follows him. At the green, it looked to be Malmgren away first. He's holding that lead at half-track. And look on the finish line. Whoa, Michael Malmgren takes the win.
Well, that is a storming race, Graham. Totally upsetting everybody's predictions here. Michael taking it through there on a .469 on the line. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, I was waiting for the power of the Firebird to come past Malmgren at half-track, and he managed to hold him off. Look at that. Half a car in it at the finish line.
First time in 2 years. This has been working for and finally got it.
Well, after that final, let's look at the leaderboard, and the Wolves are closing in on Nicholas Anderson. Look at that, Mike Malmgren now elevated to second place, Jari Canola in 3, Tommy Liner in at 4. This is it, Russ, the big one, the final of Top Fuel here at Mantorp. Have the crew chiefs got the combination together? And can this lady cause a major upset? Sweden's Monica Öberg.
It's going to be a pleasure, but I think I can't be certain of even though I have run better than him this weekend, I can't be sure to win because he's a good competitor.
Let's have a word with our other finalist, Britain's Barry Sheevels, the car looking battle-scarred from the previous round's tyre shake.
Now you're into the final.
Yeah.
And you're up against Monica Öberg, who's been quick.
Yes, she is.
How do you feel about that?
Well, this car will be quick. Yeah, I mean, we're almost there. It's just a matter of we've got too much power for this track at the moment, and this is what's causing the tyre shake. The actual car is overpowering the track, and the slicks can't keep up with the track condition, and what it tries to do is hunting for grip, and it shakes. It's like driving down a motorway at 150 miles an hour with all four wheels totally out of balance, and it really does shake you around.
Well, we're looking forward to this one, Russ. This is going to be no holds barred.
Well, absolutely, and Barry there is slightly, I would say, feeling less than his normal confident self. Maybe he's got some doubts about whether this car's going to stick to the track.
Well, must have felt for him a little bit like having your head in a food mixer on that last run. Really does shake the head about in a tyre shake situation. Whatever, here we go. Shaken but not stirred. Barry Sheevels rolls forward towards the start line. Monica Öberg first into pre-stage, followed by Barry. The tension mounts. Who's going to be the first one in stage? It is Barry Sheevels. Monica makes him wait on the green. Monica Öberg looks to be away. Look at this. Barry pulled up. Monica takes the win. 5.13.
A great start from Monica there with a .492.
Well, you can see the cylinders going away for Barry. Monica takes the win.
First time out this year and you've won it.
Yeah, it feels good.
Very good driving.
Yeah, Monica is on the hoop now.
Well, let's take a look how the weekend's action has affected the leaderboard. Barry Sheevels now out ahead in #1 spot. Jens Nebo at 2, Anita Michaela 3, Tommy Happinen in at 4. Let's join the celebrations in Top Fuel for Monica Öberg and in Pro Stock, Mike Malmgren.
Well, the final run was not a good run. I had, of course, a very good reaction time. That's why I won the race. So that makes me feel really good as a driver. Obviously, something happened with the track, which picked up quite a bit, and both cars, me and Tommy Lane, really drove through the clutch. But I had a good power there, and I could hold him all the way down. And it feels really good for me and Panasonic Racing to pick up this win. It's very important for us.
Well, it felt like I didn't see him all the way, so I thought I was going to win at the early start because when I started the car, I didn't see the green light. I just went there and it felt good.